Welcome back to Code Jogging. In our previous videos, we've been looking at the use of test components in Compose UI. In this video, we are going to look at the use of layout components in Compose UI. Why do we need to use the layout component? It helps us to rearrange the component we have in our app in order, whether horizontally or vertically. For example, let's look at these three tests. We have first data, so let me copy and paste. Okay, so we have second data. Let me copy this one and then paste it here. Fine. And then let's run it. Now we can see that the texts are on each other. It's very difficult for us to read or to see which one are we reading it first and which one is the last test. So for us to make it easy to read, we have to then use the layout component so that we can rearrange, or we can positioning how we want the text to be displayed in our app. So first, we are going to use the column. And with the column layout here, it helps us to arrange our components in vertical layout. So we then move the text here to the column and then we run it. Let's see what the column layout has. Okay, now we can see that the tests that we have here are no more on each other. Okay, so now we can add a lot of properties to the text layout. That's the modifier. Then we make the file size to occupy the whole screen. Then we can have background color, let's say red. Okay, let's make it gray. Okay, so let's run this one. The purpose for the column is to arrange the data that we have vertically. Okay, so let's look at the point where we will have so many data, okay, inside this. So let's make it a fixed height. Let's make it 250 dp. Let me import it and then let's run it. Okay, so let's make it fill with, and then let's make this one as many as we can, and then let's make the last one last data so that we can see it, whether the code is working or not. Okay, now we can see that all the data we are having here are not showing here, and we can see some are being cut off here from the first data, and then the second data we are seeing only small part of the text, and we can't do anything else again. So what we can do is, with the column layout, we can add a scroll to it so that it becomes scrollable. If there is a cutting off text or cutting off data, then the whole box becomes, or the whole column becomes scrollable, so that we can still scroll to the button and then see the other data. Okay, so for us to do that, then we add vertical scroll, then we add remember scroll states. Okay, so let me move this one to the next line. Okay, so now with this you should be able to scroll. You should be able to scroll and then see the data in the column. So now we can now scroll to the last data that we have. That's the last data, and then the last data here. Okay, so now this is how we can use column to arrange data. So if this one was supposed to be in XML form, that is Kotlin XML form, this one will be linear layout or list. Okay, so here we call it column. Now let's look at where we can make the text horizontally. We don't want our user to scroll like this, but we want them to scroll like this horizontally in order to view all the text. Okay, so for us to do that, then you have to change the column to row. Then we won't need this. Okay, so let's run it again and then let's see what's going to happen. Okay, so now you can see that we are having all the data to be on a horizontal line, but some didn't even enter. Yes, so we can prevent that from this happening. Then you have to go as we did it for the column. We added a vertical scroll state. We can also add a horizontal scroll state. That's remember scroll state. Okay, so let's run. Yes, so now we can now scroll left and right to view the rest of our data. So why do you need this? When you are using social media platform like Instagram or Facebook and then others, you realize that they have your stories at the top that you can scroll horizontally, and then you have your main feed at the bottom that you can scroll vertically. And at times too, your views, like your main feed, when you get to the middle, you see another feed that you can scroll horizontally. With the help of the column and the row, you can achieve that. So now let's look at the next step. The next step is, can we have a row inside a column? Then can we have a column inside a row? Okay, so let's assume this is our row, our column. Fill, and then we want to have a horizontal scroll of, let's say, data, and then a vertical scroll of data. Okay, so now this is what we are going to do. We are going to have a row, so that row will be this, and then we are going to add a scroll to it. That's a remember scroll state. Okay, and then we are going to add maybe a data to it. So let's go ahead and repeat. Let's say we are going to have 50 data. Okay, so we are going to have test, let's say data, this. Okay, and then we are going to have repeat, let's say 200, test, column data, IT, and then let's say row data, IT. Okay, so let's run our code and see. So in between this, I prefer to bring a space. So you have modifier height, then we can have modifier, you can have height, let's say 10 dp. So we use the spacer to bring spaces or space between two components. So we just want a space to be here between the row and the column so that we can see it clearly here. Okay, so now we have our data. So when we scroll vertically, it's not going through, and when we scroll horizontally, it's working. Why? Because we haven't added the vertical scroll to okay. So now let's make our code readable. Let's indent it. Okay, let's indent this one too. Yes, so that it will be easy to read. Okay, so now we have it here. So now we can scroll, and then we can also scroll left and right. Okay, so now we are having a row inside a column, and then we are having a nested data here, because we are having a data here, and then we are having a data here too. So we use the repeat to generate the data, and then we display it inside the text field, and then so we can do the same thing for the row and then the column. Okay, so let's do it for the row too. So we can have row like this, and then we can have horizontal scroll state, then we can have one column here, and then we can have another column here. Okay, so let me copy this one and then paste it, and then let's run our data here. So this one becomes column 1, and this one becomes column 2. So let's make it 2020 to 200 200 so that they will be on the same line. So let's remove this because we are not scrolling. Let's remove that. Okay, so now let's run our code. We are having 2 columns inside a row. We realize that one column will be showing here. Yes, so now we are having one column showing here because of the width that we specified. The other column too is not showing. So what we can do is we have to make sure that the 2 columns will have the same width. So for them to have the same width, then we can add weight 1 float, then add weight 1 float, so that they will have equal width. Yes, so now they have equal width, and we can then scroll vertically. Let's change this one to vertical. So we are having 2 columns in a row. So first data, and then here we are. So let's see the output. Yes, so now we can scroll the data, and then we can also scroll this side. Yes. Okay, so that's how we can use column and then rows in layout component in Compose UI. You can leave any question that you have in the comment section, or you can send us a mail and then we'll respond to it once we receive it. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next video. Bye bye.